The next speaker, Susana Meave. She has a BA in anthropology and has been at the school of the National School of Anthropology. And she has covered several archaeological sites, has carried out explorations in Yaxchilan, Chiapas, at the National Center of Tabasco, at the Institute of Culture in Tabasco, coordinator of land project in Tabasco, exploration and analysis of archaeological sites, and also is in charge of temporary exhibitions at the museum, has contributed with the Peralta archaeological project, and has worked in the city of Irapuato. Right now, she's working in her master's degree. Let us listen to Susana Meave. Se me va el sonido. Good afternoon. Thank you, INEGI and Juan, that has invited me. I was greatly surprised. Larger project of the research center of the College of Michoacán, which is a long-term project on the protection of cultural and natural aspects, especially in the Bajío area. And for this, I will be talking on everything we have been working on with water and land. The work area is the Bajío in Guanajuato, explicitly the basin of the Irapuato and Guanajuato rivers. And this is a very important area because it is the greatest producer of sorghum, wheat, chickpea, and practically approximately 15 years ago, it's a center of the industrial corridor of the Bajío. So it shapes up an area where agriculture is very important. The industry is bringing together, is getting together, so the La Succession. And we have 3 cities of level 2 that are growing in an important way and have to make decisions, quick decisions, and conscious and well-planned decisions in regard to the problem of waters in the 3 sectors, the agricultural, industrial, and housing sectors require this. One of the features of the area is in the basin of the Lerma, and this is very important, as I was saying, because historically we know that this is one of the most important areas agricultural-wise. Also, we have a climate that's apparently is quite stable, where summer rains are recurrent, and then there is a dry season before winter. But in the last 5 years, this has changed around in a drastic way, and in the last 2 years, since 2012 and into 2012, we have declared an important drought season, and this has taken us to make decisions, hasty decisions on behalf of the state government and the municipal governments. As I was saying, the main production of the area in Guanajuato, in the municipality of Irapuato, Romita, Celaya, Pénjamo, is wheat, sorghum, corn, alfalfa, and beans, and also chickpeas. And most of these agricultural systems require irrigation. 90% of the agriculture in the Bajío is irrigation agriculture. There's little seasonal agriculture. And, well, this puts us in the problem of where should we give water? The agricultural sector, the industrial sector, or households? As you can see, the annual rainfall, according to CONAGUA in 2011, decreased drastically. We are in the yellow area where we have rainfall below 700 cubic millimeters, when previously we were at a normal level during the rainy season. And also CONAGUA provides information in regard to the drought. Indeed, the valleys of El Abajeño and Bajío, who are in an abnormal drought situation, and this has been since 2010. The last rainy season of importance in El Bajío was in 2003. The study area is Irapuato, and this has been because the municipal governments have kept this interest in spite of the change of municipal presidents to see what the water situation is. Some archaeologists and historians have delved into this topic, and this has brought about some exchange of information. The goal we have in our research project is to rebuild the systems to capture water, irrigation through humidity and recharge of the aquifers that were transformed but have followed a sequence until the 40s of the past century, and which were drastically cut off after the building of the Purísima Dam in 1980. For this was made up as a research work for my master's degree, and we have added the contribution of the College of Michoacán with several colleagues that have supported us with edaphologists, archaeologists, biologists, historians, sociologists, and anthropologists. So we have to act all these professions. We have to follow a discipline, but in the College of Michoacán, since we are somewhat separate from the Mexico City, we have had Michoacán that has helped us a great deal. The involved institutions in this project is the College of Michoacán, the Technological Institute for Higher Studies through the School of Biology, the Autonomous University of Campeche through the Center for Historic Studies that have supported us with the systems of geographic information in order to keep this going and establish a database that can be open to the public as a final project. And the different municipalities, the organizations that are working in this project, and the Bajío will have this information within reach. And one of the main features is that we have to do the field study.
And we have, we see the hydroagrological systems and the hydrological systems for the agricultural production that were operating in the 18th and 19th century. We carry out a historical archaeology in the reconstruction of an agricultural landscape. At a certain time, we take samples of the soils and we'll get the information on the chemical and physical transformation of the soil in El Bajío as of the use of the water as a means to get extraordinary amounts of wheat they used to produce in the 18th century. Unfortunately, luckily we have the participation of the Laboratory for the Patrimony of the Nation, and the biologists and the edaphologists allow us a dialogue between the information they provide and what we as archaeologists and historians can interpret out of what happened in a system that used to be efficient in the use of water, in the management of water. And we get the support of historical cartography that gives us an account of the way they managed the water issues they had, the droughts they had to face, how they solved their issues without the irrigation systems, without electric pumps, without electric power. They had rudimentary systems, but nevertheless they were very efficient. In the preliminary outcomes, we have archaeological information. We have traversed the Irapuato region. We discovered 35 archaeological sites with information of the Conagua, Guanajuato, telling us that the flooding rate in Guanajuato was around 1,700 meters, and as of 17,020 meters, we found all the archaeological sites. We never found any archaeological site below that altitude. So the question was, what happened with this extensive valley and all these sites crunched in the highest lands? In El Bajío, the highest mount, because we cannot call it a mountain. It's 2,100 feet above sea level. And we realized that there was an expertise in the pre-Hispanic groups in regard to the management of agriculture, of the land, and the water. When the pre-Hispanic groups who have this knowledge, we know by our archaeological sources that in the year 1000 of our we after Christ, we wonder, why do people leave? And the recurrent question you pose to the peasants in Guanajuato is, why did you go? Why did you leave Mexico to go to the United States? Well, because I don't have work. And the answer a peasant would have given me 2,000 years after Christ, well, I don't have the means to grow anything on the land. I have no tools to grow anything, so I left. So we knew that there were up to 10,000 people living in the different valleys in El Bajío. Then all of a sudden, they abandoned the place, and they started leaving in 980, and then there was a group of hunters and collectors left, probably using the different means of incipient agriculture that existed. So the question, what happened when the Spaniards arrived, and what happened in the 18th century? So we took as a sample one of the few haciendas that can be rebuilt in their system, because practically the haciendas has been occupied by the modern agriculture, by the highways, by the cities, or by the industrial infrastructure. The Hacienda of Guadalupe near Irapuato belongs to the municipality of Irapuato, and they had 72 water boxes registered in the archives, in the personal archives of an important character in the city of Irapuato. And he showed us a document which enabled to find. I wish this document could be seen by everybody, but by law he is the owner of this paper, and because of the map he had and his fight with the owner of the La Valenciana Hacienda, we were able to rebuild the system, and this system still existed. This is the door to a water box. But then we realized that the agriculturists today have no water. And when we visited the region, we realized that 90% of the agriculturists are taking out water, drawing water from the Guanajuato River. But the Guanajuato River has no water anymore. They're digging wells down to 15 meters, and they draw the water with pumps. So the question is, what will happen if there's no water left? But maybe they can manage. But the city of Silao, Irapuato, and León are having issues with the water. And currently, the slide was not that good, but you can see some strips here that are like hoses. These are hoses given to them by Zagarpa, and they are irrigating alfalfa. Alfalfa fields. Alfalfa needs a lot of water, and they grow alfalfa all year long because this is the most profitable type of culture for the people in Guanajuato. And we ask them, why don't you grow anything but alfalfa? Well, because I get well paid for my alfalfa. So we have many food processing, pet processing food for cows, cats, dogs, and most of these meals are prepared with alfalfa seeds. And when I looked at the wells, I went back to the information sources of INEGI and Conagua, and the overexploitation of aquifers belongs exactly to Guanajuato. And if you go over the reports, for instance, JAPAMI, which is the drinking water board, they used to have wells of 40 meters in depth, and now they have wells that are 400 meters in depth with fossil water that is no good for human consumption. And through a historic vision, the vision going back into history, I know that you all try to have the best modern technology. Looking back to the past would allow us to understand these systems, rebuild them, that because they would fill out the water, they would make the most of the seasons that used to be as bad as ours currently, and do two things. One, maintain the agricultural system alive, keep it alive. The other system is to refill the aquifers. That's very important, because most superficial water in Guanajuato is for agriculture, and the groundwater, 80% of the groundwater is also for agriculture, and the rest is for human consumption and the industry. We need to reload the aquifers, transform the irrigation system so that we don't have to always depend on the wells, and to tap on the regular or irregular rainy seasons to fill out and irrigate the fields. And also is that the agriculturists themselves in Guanajuato are supporting our project. They want to go back to this ancient system because they know that water is drawing to an end. To us, it's a great help to start with the most difficult, that the communities, the people request our work, and they want to have it.